Now, to give you some idea of sort of values, imagine these women are prostituting themselves for tuppence, threepence, or a loaf of stale bread.
Not only Polly Nichols, but all 5 of the Ripper's victims lived in these conditions, in this community.
This is probably the only serial killer case that I can think of where you can walk all the crime scenes in less than 2 hours. All these crimes have occurred within 1 mile radius. He's chosen to go there. It's all through his choice.
This environment clearly suited the Ripper's purposes. But was he what criminal psychologists call a poacher, someone who came from outside Whitechapel just to hunt? Or was he a marauder, attacking within his own community? Laura turns to a mapping technique called geographic profiling. It's used by law enforcement agencies around the world to interpret crime scene locations. Geoprofiling was invented by Dr. Kim Rossmo of the Texas State University. He's an ex-cop and a mathematician, and some years ago he spotted that it's possible to use crime locations to identify where the perpetrator has his base, his home.
Most criminals operate out of their home in terms of their search for criminal targets. Criminals commit crimes close to where they live, but not too close. They're affected by concerns over anonymity and not wanting to hunt in an area where they might be identified.
Dr. Rossmo uses a formula based on data from dozens of solved cases. It interprets crime sites and key features of the area, homes, roads, public spaces. He then calculates where the offender comes from.
We use a computer program to do upwards of 1 million calculations to determine the most likely area.
It produces a map where color indicates probability. The offender's home is least likely to be in the black areas, most likely to be in the red. Given that the Ripper killings all took place within 1 square mile, it should be possible for Dr. Rossmo to pinpoint the street where the police of 1888 ought to have started their hunt. While Laura waits for the results of the geographic profile, she looks at the circumstances of the second killing. It happened 9 days after Polly's body was found, and only half a mile away, in Hanbury Street. The second victim's name was Annie Chapman. She was attacked with even more violence, more brutality than Polly Nichols. Again, the killer disappeared, but he left behind evidence that more than a century on may still unmask him.